Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. As promised in our daily financial news this Friday morning, we are going to be speaking with Stephen Dow from Velocity Mortgage. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. Missing you guys for the last week or so, a couple weeks. But yeah, definitely excited to be back.
It's all good, man. You're moving in a house. You're moving your mom from California over, so it's all good things. I want to congratulate you for that, being a good son, all of that good stuff. But what we're going to talk about today, at least in video one, is really how an investor, myself, people like me, can really look at non-QM lenders. Obviously, Velocity Mortgage plays in that space. How they should look at a non-QM lender really under three different lenses. And really what I want to talk about here is how, in theory, an investor like myself, once they create a relationship with a non-QM vendor, could really become almost endless access to capital, right? That's a big thing for lots of investors is, hey, how can I get the money? How can I get the money? How can I get the money? So we're going to talk about that. But before we jump into that topic, we got to do this marketing thing because Velocity Mortgage is publicly traded. So why don't you go ahead and knock that out and then we'll jump in.
Certainly. So again, although I work for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the topics and discussions and ideas are on this show are that of my own. But otherwise, let's get it started.
There you go. So folks, again, Velocity Mortgage is on this every Friday morning. They are so important to the channel that there's actually a link, or they have their own playlist. So you can go back and watch hours of material. There's also an email, sdow@Velocity Mortgage. You should be reaching out to because Stephen and Velocity Mortgage can really help you out. So Stephen, I want to talk about how non-QM lenders are relatively new to the business. They may have been out there for a while, but they've really hit mainstream, right? For me as a relatively, medium-sized investor, kind of hit my radar about 3 years ago. Now we're hitting the radar of, onesie, twosie investors. So what I really want to talk about are the three ways that I think a non-QM lender could play. The first one is, hey, I hear this Mike Zuber guy talking all the time. He thinks rates are going up. He thinks more inventory is coming. More inventory means more deals. So really avenue number one for lots of investors could be, let me evaluate my current portfolio. Maybe I came into this, I haven't done a deal in a while. I paid stuff off. We've had huge appreciation. Can I look at my existing portfolio? And maybe there are things that I could bring to Stephen or Velocity Mortgage and go, hey, what could you do for me, right? I talked to an investor, I think it was Tuesday, who paid off an asset. And he's like, hey, I'm kind of cash poor, but I have this thing. I'm like, well, and he can't get a bank loan because of this or that other reason, right? So I'm like, well, you should probably have a conversation with Stephen, right? They have the Fast 50. See, I remembered one of the names, right? Could get a pretty quick 50% LTV if you wanted. But there are other programs. This is not about those programs. It's just about evaluate your existing portfolio. You probably have debt. You've seen a lot of appreciation. And if you are really getting ready, right, you want to be Jamie Dimon and have dry powder ready. Some folks need to look at their existing portfolio, and whether this is a bank loan or a non-QM lender, I think that's an interesting thing to look at. What do you think?
I agree, because I mean, again, if you can leverage some of your assets in this particular case, as far as what you were talking about, Jamie Dimon stacking up money, to use out there when things are more favorable. But I would agree with you, because again, depending upon the situation, or maybe even stabilizing short-term money, to where if you're talking about inflation every single day, where you don't want to be caught somewhere in between floating when inflation's so high. Now you're going to have to refinance again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, I want to be very clear. Several of your products are 30-year fixed.
Correct.
Yeah. Again, folks, I'm not here to tell you that his 30-year fixed rates are going to be bank money. This is not bank money.
No.
This is not owner-occ money. Don't play there. But this is what I would call cheap 30. It's cheap 30-year money. So again, you got some dry powder. Maybe you're self-employed. Maybe you have a credit hit, whatever it is. One of the things you should look at, one of my three you should look at for access to capital is, what do I got in my current portfolio? So number two, this is probably where a lot of the one rental at a time family has already reached out to you. It's like, I'm doing the work, right? Zuber's course is awesome. It's helping me understand what a deal looks like. I'm starting to hone in on a deal. I think my students and my followers should reach out to you and go, hey, this is where I'm at. right? They need to tell you the city, right? Because again, you have some population requirements. You don't lend everywhere.
Correct.
So they should do that.
Right.
Make sure they're thumbs up. They should give you their average, I guess their expected credit score. They just should see where they are kind of like in a basic deal structure, right? Because if you go in now and tell Stephen what you're looking for, you will be ready for a faster yes answer when you lock up a deal. Time is not time is not great for deals today. Deals are still fast. All right, you need to be able to strike. So if you were doing the work and you're one of my students and you are now getting close to understanding average, call Stephen, email Stephen, link below, just to tell him where you're at. Because I would hate for you to be in a market that Stephen doesn't interact with. And again, remember, this is only for the folks that can't get bank money. If you're doing a deal and it'll appraise and it'll go through inspections, get that bank money. You should get all the cheap sub 4% you can. If you can't, for whatever reason, or you're already at 10, then come in here. Does that kind of make sense?
That's 100% true. Again, ideally, you want to start with bank financing. Those have the best terms.
Absolutely.
So, but they have limitations as well, and there's a certain limit as far as the maximum number of finance products through conventional financing for investment property. So that's where we would probably come into play better versus traditional hard money. So, like you were saying, cheap 30-year. In comparison to your traditional hard money, which is usually 12, maybe 24 months maximum as far as terms. So definitely we provide a pretty good underserved market in the sense of in between bank loans and traditional hard money. So very flexible. Yeah,
what I would tell anybody watching this, if you're one of my students or followers and you are even thinking about using hard money, you need to stop that and reach out to Velocity Mortgage first, because maybe you're in a situation, maybe you're in a town that's so small. Maybe there's lots of reasons you should use hard money, but if your brain goes to hard money first, don't do that, right? You're talking 12% money versus sub 6% money. At least have the conversation, right? The one thing I've loved about Stephen, and again, go back and look at his playlist, video number 1. I'm like, all right, dude, we're going to test you. And if you freaking screw up with any of my followers, I'll delete all these videos, right? So again, he's so far, knock on wood, he's doing a great job of servicing and being quick. I do not promise yes answers, but I promise quick answers. So far, Stephen, thank you for doing that.
My pleasure. No, everybody that's contacted me has been great. We've helped a lot of people either understand their position, and so they, like you said, get ready for when that project comes along, they can pull the trigger much quicker versus kind of finding out after the fact and then missing out on an opportunity because they didn't know that the financing was really all in place and you didn't have all your ducks in a row. So at the very least, reach out to me. I've been very, excited about at least helping people structure and or at least giving them the right advice where if ideally my loan isn't the best situation, by all means, this is where you should go. So
yeah, you better keep doing that because sometimes there's many times you're not the right answer. Sometimes, hey, why don't you go get a bank loan? Your credit score's here. You have a W-2. Thank you for calling me. One rental at a time, family. But damn it, go get that cheap bank money. So you better be saying that, which I know you are.
I say that first and foremost, and I say, hey, try Matt the mortgage guy first if you're in California.
Exactly. So, it's one happy family. So far, all my experts are playing nice in the sandbox, which I appreciate. And then the other one is you're telling them no if there's other reasons, right? Not big enough, owner rock. I mean, whatever it is.
Correct.
Fast answers is what I expect. So number 3, this is where I hope most people get to, right? I believe once you've invested the time learning your market, which takes time, it's in the course, its focus is daily execution. You will likely be getting onto I don't know if it's a pipeline or a treadmill or whatever the right analogy is, but deals will be coming up once every 6 months, once every, whatever that is for you. But I'm hoping you have the relationship and you've done the legwork where Velocity Mortgage becomes a phone call or an email like, hey, I got another one. What do you need? All right, you need the latest bank statement or you need a paycheck or whatever it is. Done, and we just go forward. So when you reach out, maybe you're in step 2 of this and you're like, hey, this is where I'm at. Go the extra mile and have the conversation about how do we really create this? What would you need to know? Just so you both are aware and hopefully this becomes streamlined for both of you. So what do you think of that?
Oh, no, it's been exactly how you presented it. The initial conversations are typically a little bit longer due to the fact that I have to understand the specific situation, what type of property you're looking to invest in, how you're structured, things of that nature. Just again, advise you correctly, because otherwise, if I don't know the full story, I can't give you the right advice. So it's been really helpful in a sense of, having that conversation. And then, like you said, once we've gotten a deal done, we feel comfortable, we kind of know each other, we know the process. And specifically, we just funded a loan for one of your viewers just recently, and he now knows the process. We know him. He's got another one that he's looking to submit in, and so the next process will be much easier. And of course, repeat customers get a lot of love as well, as far as flexibility with pricing and other such. But you hit it right on the head as far as a relationship that we're looking for. Because again, a partnership for future business, because the only thing stopping a legitimate investor from continuing to invest is the finances. So once you have that all kind of lined up, and you're partnering with the right company, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So folks, you got a little bit of choppy noise there at the end. We'll clean that up on video number 2. But really the point here is Velocity Mortgage should be your partner, or any non-QM lender. Again, get bank money if you can. There's a link below. And the other thing Steven slid in there is I'm hearing he's being flexible with you. He's working out details. He's helping with this. He's helping with that. So call him, have a conversation, and let's see what he can do for you. Thanks, Steven.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.